Okay, so we've talked a little bit about samples and types of samples and how to sample, but let's think about a different type of design. So samples are really passive, right? You're asking. It's all observation based. There's no intervention. In experiments, however, you have an intervention. You're looking at a relationship between something that's changing and the outcome. So there are natural experiments, which kind of you get lucky and you can kind of see this change and you're observing it, but then there's experiments that you conduct. So let's think of an experiment as testing the COVID vaccine, right? So your explanatory variable would be the vaccine itself. And the response would be the outcome. Do you get COVID? Now, the treatment is going to be the whether you receive the vaccine or not. And the experimental unit in this case would just be, do you get COVID or do you not? And there's obvious ethical concerns with this, right? You're going to have placebos, people who don't get the vaccine, and people who do get the vaccine, which makes experiments really difficult. That you can think of a million other reasons why experiments are hard. Some things you can't replicate with an experiment, but it does work really well with this medicine example. And continuing on that example, you can have a control group, which would be people who are going to get the vaccine, and then you could have a placebo group, and they're going to get, sugar water, and they're going to think it's the vaccine. Well, actually, let me correct that. They're going to get sugar water. They don't know whether it's the vaccine or not, depending on whether they're blinded. So blinding would be if you're given a placebo and you're told it's a placebo, it's not blind. You know that you didn't get the vaccine. If you're given a placebo and you're not told whether it's the placebo or whether it's the vaccine, then it is a blind treatment. Now, a double blind is when the researchers themselves do not know whether you have the placebo or whether you have the vaccine. So they're looking at the results without that information. So that cuts out a lot of that self-funded bias, right? They aren't going to push the results in a certain way because they have no idea whether you have the vaccine or do not.